Mama, Akanama, Lone Mada, Lone Mao, Lone Mada, Lone Woman, Lomoye, Lomoye, Lunamuwe, Lunemo, Lunemo, Abade Bobo, Lunemo, Abade Bobo, Lunemo, Abade Bobo, Ekunanga, Lumo, Ewa, Wana, Ewa, 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 Lunami, Momie, Ekunanga, Lunemo, Yalunemo, Abade Bobo, Another one now, Gaina, another one now, Gaina. It was on a war, no, never, no, yeah. They will up in a ye, they will up in a ye. Don't know Egana, long Egana, and I Egana, no more than ye. Do a logo, Anama, do a logo, and I have way, and I have way. Yakuna, look for me. And now, I don't anymore. Yalon them, a day, Bobo. Yalon them, a day, Bobo. And I alone, and I alone, and I alone. Ewala, and I was, Ewala, and I alone, Ella, Yana way, don't want me one. Couldn't have we well on the way. Yad them hung about day, Bobo. And I quit more, and I quit more, and I quit more, and I quit more, and I quit more. And I don't find you, and I don't find you, and I'm all find you. Malo, now I find you. Malo, now I find you. You grab a wallow, Samela, you grab a wallow. In a wallet, I'm a walk about the table. You are Muatanga, Omanwa, Taona, Dualenga, Bemwe, Walukuna, Boke, Nunerubo, Tavali, Yangela, Diaka, La Peba, Gelo Deba, Davapoya, Iba Mowalo, Gayele, Libateo, Gayele, Libawolo, Talanyarela, Duomo, Yamawe, among a great. Young at the bar to got money work. Get a Yamalo, Bobale, Bobale, Pelaga, Yebo, Bobale, Pelaga, Yebo. Yamayo, Yamo, Babalama, Malone, Bobale, Younger, Yammer, Papa, Vale, Younger, Yammer, Papa, Vale, Younger. Madanga delu morebo da denga badunga ma ya odia de ya ke ya balungo we ya no wo vale yenga ya no wo vale yenga pera ga ye de bo ewa no te manu na we ewa no te manu na we Analine, where I got on nebo. Anaelo, malo no na asamio, malo no na asamio, monge ba asamio, monge ba asamio, monge ba asamio. Wanganya winganwa, wanganya winganwa. Walukuna bege lo newa, walukuna bege lo newa. Nari newa. Alo mayanga yele kamoba, alo mayanga yele meniba. Abalo nebo abale yena, abalo nebo abale yena, abalo nebo abale yena. Yolinya yolo merna, yolinya yolo merna, yolinya yolo merna. Malo nebo abale yena, malo nebo abale yena, yolanga ye, yolanga ye.
Okay, guy, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me see here quickly here. Just bear with us. Okay, good morning, folks. I am Afonso Zia, and so we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much. A lot is unfolding, and I know it is unusual to catch me in this morning hour here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv, but a lot is unfolding. It is important that we have these conversations. There's a saying that's saying when it is hot, that's where you take the iron to the blacksmith, and they can do some adjustment. Welcome to this early morning hours, a little after 6 o'clock in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Mr. Hinent Fatu, I don't know, you guys gonna get a reality award for your commitment to this network here. But we are about to get on a rocky roll this morning hour. Welcome to the polls, reaction, discussions of the president. State of the Union address in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. I am Afonso Zienso right here this early morning hour, 1:07 Eastern Standard Time. Welcome. Developing this early morning hour from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio, I am Afonso Zienso right here this early morning hour, which is very unusual to catch me up here, but we are working on plans. We might be going beyond the borderline to discuss some of those issues, making headlines in Liberia, and to hold all accountable, including us, we as a facilitator, anchor, presenter, host, and whatever you're going to call it. But it was a big day in Liberia, and there's no way that we can let this go. It is important that we put it into context, fair balance, and hear all sides, including the electorates, those who were able to make the decision, who participated in the process, not for, not against the work of the media, not an enforcement institution or resistant group, but to keep the news fair, balanced, and objective in the conversations. Well, the Marshall Water Board drops yesterday in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. The President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Numa Boakai, was in the joint chambers of the Republic of Liberia, giving the state of the nation's address, not just only to Liberians, but to donors and friendless government. We're going to look at the speech in a context. It would be unfair to say we're going to conclude that here this morning. It's going to be the point of conversations where clarity is needed. Fair to say we're going to give you a discussion, and perhaps maybe folks within the system will come and have this sort of conversation as well. but the talking point varies depending who you talk to and where the conversation is being driven. So it's a compelling situation to be up at this time, 1:10 Eastern Standard Time, right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. And trust me, we're going to open the phone lines to get your thoughts as well. Let's not leave the conversations of Liberia in the hands of the politicians. I really do not trust them. Politicians, I do not really trust them because their ultimate goal is to push their own ideologies before the country comes in. And so it is important that we checkmate all of them, who they are. No, do not get too emotional. Do not bring sentiment into it. It's no feelings. It's nothing about hate. It's about discussing the country. What is good for the country? We here at LPR vehemently disagree and oppose of people protecting their own alligators simply because it's in their own interest. That's not how a vibrant society is built. If you support someone, great, good. But for the good of the country, you may have the guts to also hold them accountable. And that's exactly what we intend to do. And we will try to make wise of this innovations in social media to discuss national issues, not on a personal basis, but those issues that matter to the country, and be a little bit more explicit to us. We do not want to second guess. And so where there is some sort of ambiguity into speeches or write out, we reserve the right to have these conversations in the civil context, respecting all and accommodating the views of all. If you are in Liberia, we say good morning. If you are right here in the USA, good evening, good morning as well, because in the East Coast here is like 1:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the priority of our country must be set above all of us. And so the conversation for a while will continue with respect to the address of the President of the Republic of Liberia, Ambassador Joseph Newman BOAKAI, which will be varies in all quarters. But we must have the political tolerance to accommodate these views, even though some might be so extreme and over the top. That is okay. It paves the way to exercise the beauties of democracy by allowing people to speak their mind, as long as it is done in a civil context and not just shoving things in their throat. How many of these institutions network would give it a broader conversation for clarity, except few will want to do that because they try to protect their own political base or basis. That's how disingenuous these politicians, some call themselves advocate, but the news is being streamlined. And we here at LPR are keeping the fair balance, objective, and proportionate. We want to welcome you. I am Alfonso Zenso, right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. Post-discussion, the aftermath of His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Newman BOAKAI State of Union address in John Chambers in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Your thought, what did you learn? What is lacking? What is the good side of it? We're going to put all into context, expressing our views and our opinion. And we have the right. You also have the right to do so. It is about your country. And I've reminded my viewers or audience all of the time, do not leave the national conversations in the hands of the politicians. Guess what? Pretty soon, you will come back and tell us, even though you supported them in the past and in the present, sooner or later, you will come knowing what I know. So it's better to know it now and let us have the conversation for the good of the country. I am Alfonso Zenso. Stay tuned. Let's get a ball rolling, and we're going to roll this number out here for you to have a say. And your country, it's about your country as well. I will be right back. Okay, here we go. The aftermath of the President of the Republic of Liberia, Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka, speaking to the Liberian people, not just only to the Liberian people, but to donors and international community. This line will be activated as soon as possible to get your views, your take, and what you think. Do not bring your feelings here. There's a traditions on this network. We don't say it your way. We tell you what you need to know. Does that make it 100% perfect? Absolutely not. But we are aware of the entertainment in the country is way over the top. So LPR at a minimum level entertainment is not of a concern to us because MC Carol and all of those Takon J Takon, they are there. We leave them with the entertainment aspect of the country and we try to talk the issues, not personality, but discuss those uncomfortable issue, national issue, that will not suit your political taste because we are not of the same group. You have your own political philosophy. And so we're going to have this conversation right here to right now from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. Well, there are folks who are helping us to keep the wheel of this industry turning on a daily basis to get us to be on air. Let me go to the brother of the state of Philadelphia and what sisterly affection, as they call it. Uncle Musa's store has been providing sponsorship for the upkeep of the Liberia Public Radio, and there's no way that we can leave them behind. Let's take the quick commercial break, and I will be right back.
Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I'm a customer of Uncle Musa. I came here to get some things from grocery. Their things are so nice. They never get expired. They are the best quality. They have the best price ever anyone can get. They have so many things like cream, like meat, a lot of kind of meat. We have so many kind, and it's the best grocery store I've ever seen here in Wood. They are located at the 65th and Woodland. If you want, I really appreciate you guys to come over to come and patronize with us because they sell the best quality.
Uncle Musa's Groceries on Woodland Avenue, 6523 Woodland Avenue, Philadelphia, PA. Musa's store is composed of varieties of African food as well as Americans, but predominantly African food. You have dry fish, you have cassava, you have yams, you have plantains, bananas, and Musa even goes out of his way to pay people extra to cut the potato grains for customers to save them extra time. We have deeper, we have fufu, we have the refrigeration center, then we also have cosmetics. This is the place to come in Philadelphia. If you come to Philly, you don't reach to Uncle Musa's Groceries, you have not made your trip complete. Welcome, and we look forward to seeing you sponsoring our business. Thank you.
This is Uncle Musa's store, 6523 Woodland Avenue. It's the only store, a grocery store, that deals with African stuff. Anything African thing you can get in Uncle Musa's store. I am from Igbo in Nigeria. So, ndị Igbo dum, onye ọbụla wụ onye Igbo, ya bịa na Uncle Musa's store, 6523 Woodland Avenue. Ọ ebe ọ ga-enweta anything we ihe ndị Igbo na-eri.
Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The business, we have a business on grocery store for African food, all West African food, from Liberia, mostly Liberian food. And we have a palm oil imported from Liberia, and we have a very good customer service. If a customer buy from Uncle Musa Grocery, you get bonus certain times, and things are very reasonable. We have a good palm oil. Anything you want from Africa, West Africa, you can get it from Uncle Musa Grocery. We do retail and wholesale. So you can visit, we have a couple of stores in Philadelphia. We have one on 6523 Woodland Avenue, and another one is a clothing store on 6519 Woodland Avenue. and we'll have another one on Upper Derby, Gary Road. So you're welcome for shopping. Everything is nice. Customer service perfect. So that's it. Bye-bye.
Okay, here we go. That's Uncle Musa. Uncle Musa is one of our sponsors right here on the Diaspora Informative News outlet, Liberia Public Radio, Lpr-Tv. He's based in Philadelphia, and he has been providing sponsorship for the upkeep of this network for how many years? I can't just even remember, but his commitment trust into this network to provide him the services, and he in turn to reciprocate. We get some money for him, and we make these commercials, and it's really paying out. That's what we do. So we don't count on politicians to give up, because we do not put bone in our own throat where we're going to be stuck to discuss whatever issue. So if you're in Liberia, you're right here in the USA, and you have your business, you want to get it out there, well, let us know. When there's no way, we will find it out, whether here or wherever you are. Just let us know. We have the capacity to create that sort of talking point and even bring you. And this is why, for all, we are not that selective. With few in the conversations of Liberia, no one should be left behind. So we do not prioritize the elite and give them the opportunity alone. You are the ordinary citizen. You should take charge of the government. And that's exactly what we want. Okay, I'm going to activate this number here as quick as possible to get your take. With respect to the address of the President of the Republic of Liberia, State of the Union address yesterday in Liberia, the conversation varies, interpretations different. People see it different waveforms, context. Other people are holding up because perhaps it is their party. But I think we must take a holistic approach and look at it in the broader context. I have a conversation. John, Mr. Hinan, Fatumata, I got to be up. I got to be up. It's about Liberia. Somebody got to be up to tell the narrative. We want to give everybody the chance to have a say and not just under the few. So the number there is being activated. I intend not to do the talking alone. So we're going to have some talking point here, but you can also place your call. As a Liberian, you monitor, you listen to the one that was transcribed, be it the audio or the transcript. You read it. Where you think there's a hair scratching issue, where you think there's something yet to be made clear to you, you have the right to speak out. And this is why we give the ordinary Liberian the authority here to speak. We do not leave no one behind. We do not sanction voices. We value to your views, your opinion. We facilitate these high-call conversation. However, whatever statement said made on this network does not in any way form represent the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, but we do facilitate these high-call conversation. However, civility is the hallmark of this network, which of course we know you always do. That's nothing to tell you. So if you want to give your thoughts, your views, your opinion, and you think this speech was just strictly peanut butter and jelly, nothing else needs to be done. Maybe I want to perform a surgical operation to bring out some of the pieces that were left out or need more clarity. Do not also hold me responsible as I hate, but I just try to go beyond the borderline. I am a free thinker, a free mind. I'm not a guy who believes in a big size of government. I believe in a reasonable size, not overspending. So I'm curious, and I, want to know some things, and hopefully we can give the administration the chance at some point in time where they can send a surrogate or supporter for us to dive into this conversation. Now, Steny, you are the most crucial and important part into this conversation. They are the policy maker. They're going to be making these decisions. You would not be involved in making these decisions when decisions are taken at the executive level and at the first branch of government. We have elected them for 6-9 years simultaneously. So they really do not need our consent again. What we can do is to have these conversations and make them to know our voices matter and to the political process in Liberia, regardless of our geographic and political location. Whether in the diaspora, inside Liberia, your voice matters, and it has to be expressed in the civil context that people would listen and pay attention to you, which is most of the time is lacking. So the number is open. 682-433-8802 is the number. If you're in Liberia or outside of the country, it is also available via WhatsApp to accommodate you. In a couple of days, we'll try to activate our Liberia number that we have here as well, which is available on WhatsApp, so that you can participate into this high call conversation. I've been taking a review of the President's State of the Union address today to the nation. A lot of things there. It will be unfair to draw a conclusion of what the President said, but we can go inside and pick up some points. Not necessarily that those points suit our political taste, but fair enough to give you a conversation as to how, and that's the key question. The how questions is the difficult one. Most people find it very difficult to answer. So we need to have this conversation. There are a couple of things that claim my attention. The President, his whole vision is what they call this arrest. Yes. Agriculture, rule of law, sanitation, and what? Tourism. Great. Good outline, good visions. To be fair, from what I see, what I've read, in fact, we're still going through it, but the President, the organizational structure, it was great. He looks presidential, look good. I'm not a doctor, but from what I see, everything looks good. I think this time around, I know I wouldn't say not 100%, but as compared to what we saw happening during the inaugural, this time around, there was a good organizational structure in place. And I realized the press secretary, right after the President address to the nations, it was posted to give public the ability to digest, to review and critique and make their voices heard. That's quite correct. So there is something that claimed my attention. I'm a guy who believes in civil liberties. Yeah, I believe in civil liberties, and anyone who tries to infringe, or when there is no clarity, then I will want to know exactly what is happening. For the President, one of his key point vision from time to time is rule, which is great. He kept to his word in the fourth or fifth paragraph. No car stuck in mud, 100-day deliverable. So the President is still consistent. What is missing here was what he said during the inauguration, and we saw the kickback coming from Senator Prince Johnson in the State of Union, where it should be mentioned to reassure the international community, the Liberian people and friends of Liberia, of this war crime court or whatever attachment you want to make. We don't know why it was missing, whether it was on purpose or slipped by the writers or speech writers of the President. I'm not sure what is happening in that. But what actually caught my attention, the President says something about drugs. A specific reference was made to this group. Okay. The drug epidemic, especially the use of coach in our country, is an essential threat eating away the future of our country, and the country must stand up to face this nation's security risk together. Given the need for immediate action to make good my pledge that his political ideology, to make good of his pledge of thousands of families burdened by the crisis, I hereby declaring drugs and substance abuse as public health emergency. In this direction, I am establishing a multi-sectorial steering committee comprising of the following agency in government: the Ministry of Health, Chair, Justice, that would be the law enforcement aspect, Ministry of Youth and Sports. Of course, the nomenclature, the set of oversight committees does quite look good. What is still lacking is, I'm wondering what are people civil liberty is going to be seized now, testing just test. Are we taking the bottom to top approach or top to bottom approach? That is my concern. And I'm willing to have that conversation for people who have an opposing view to that. So how is this process going to be administered? Is it in Monrovia? Is it throughout the length and breadth of the Republic of Liberia? How? Who are those that are going to administer this just test? Who are those? Where are they coming from? Do we have the capacity? Have we built that structure, that institution, that network, that's laboratory technicians? Do we have that to carry on that? Or is this the same old sweet political talks that we are getting to? For some of us who are free thinker and goes beyond the borderline, kind of less skeptical in this. Why were the contracts of the civil servant, people who are working at finance, educations, and other places under the arm of the government of Liberia, are they going to be picking people up? So what happens if a Fonsoso is tested for drugs, use of drug, kush, or whatever it is? What next? If I was in the employment of government, when there has become the precondition to why it is true, these things must be addressed. Let us not escalate this here to appease the public because the public needs immediate attention to the crisis in Liberia. I think we must take a bottom to top approach by addressing this systematically with a good and fruitful result. What happens if I'm tested positive of drug abuse? What is the outcome? If I'm working now, would I be dismissed? Does the government of Liberia now have the capacity to do what? Do they have the capacity to send me to a treatment center? What sort of treatment going to be administered? Oh, you expose me as a rejection to society, to community, to be like a guy who takes in cocaine, smoke opium, smoke weed, smoke, I don't know, kush is a whatever drug it is. I get it. And what next? You expose me to danger. And I become a known guy in the community. Oh, we didn't know that this guy here, he takes in cocaine, he takes in opium. Do we have the infrastructure now? What happens if 10,000, hundreds of thousands tested for whatever reason? What would be the next step? How much it will cost government to execute this process? Where is the funding coming from? How much? Maybe Joseph Hinent, Joseph Tillett, Benjamin, someone can call in and give me the answer. And the success in everything is the financial capability. There are still missing links into this here. Why it is true is a good approach, but I think we must do it systematically, not to be amused by the crowd, by those out there, because people want immediate results. I don't want to have another scenario of 6,000 teachers to be coming in at the end of the day. 2 teachers cannot come. So how this, I try to wrap this around my head, and I'm not getting the answers needed as to how this exercise is going to be done. Are they going to affect arrest in the street? How it will be done? Will they go into schools all over the country to administer drug tests? Do we have the capacity to do that? Where will those people be kept? I'm tested drug positive. Kush, cocaine, weed, opium, whatever you call it. There are lots out there. Will I be treated? Or you diagnose my case and there's no treatment plan, and I leave my own with God? If I were having a job, now I'm a drugs positive, I am at risk already, probably no sound good judgment in thinking, I've been stigmatized by society, by community, workplace. Nobody want to do business with me. I'm at risk to other people. What becomes of me? Do we have the clinicians, the psychologists, the counselors to provide a counseling process? How long are you going to take, and how will I be integrated into society? This question must be answered, not just say A and throw it out there and we just buy into A. So I'm wondering, how much potential will be invested into this? There is no projected budget. How much is going to cost government to do this? Nothing. We have cried and cried for quality educations over what? 38 some more million, according to the WLA government in his last state of address to the nations that were used on the Wired and all of that, which of course was not a legislation. So whatever it was an executive, it didn't go. It's not a law. So whether even this administration going to continue that I don't know, because it was not a law. It did not go through the first branch of government to become a piece of legislation that successive government would come to take it into consideration. Or are we trying to transform our society into something else that we yet to know? How would this drugs test? I don't understand. I'm trying to figure a way out here. I just don't know. Not against it, but what happens? So employees of government over how many, 700,000 or whatever? Is that where you're going to start before going to what? Public sector, teachers, or civil servants? Everybody going to be what? Subjected to this sort of test? And if that is the case, if they are tested, what becomes of them? So there are some still missing link here that we need to find an answer to. Let me take a break here till we'll be right back. And again, please, you are at liberty to call and give your versions of this here. Let's go to our man, Uncle Musa is the guy that keeping the wheel of this industry moving strong and fast. I will be right back.
Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I'm a customer of Uncle Musa. I came here to get some things from grocery. Their things are so nice. They never get expired. They are the best quality. They have the best price ever anyone can get. They have so many things like cream, like meat, a lot of kind of meat. We have so many kind, and it's the best grocery store I've ever seen here in Woodland. They are located at the 65th and Woodland. If you want, I really appreciate you guys to come over to come and patronize with us because they sell the best quality.
Uncle Musa's Groceries on Woodland Avenue, 6523 Woodland Avenue, Philadelphia, PA. Musa's store is composed of varieties of African food as well as Americans, but predominantly African food. You have dry fish, you have cassava, you have yams, you have plantains, bananas, and Musa even goes out of his way to pay people extra to cut the potato grains for customers to save them extra time. We have deeper, we have fufu, we have the refrigeration center, then we also have cosmetics. This is a place to come in Philadelphia. If you come to Philly, you don't reach to Uncle Musa's Groceries, you have not made your trip complete.
Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services and your friends in business.
Okay, there you have it. If you need our services, excellent broadcasting, let us know. We can do whatever you want us to do for you. So these are legitimate questions that we are raising here. Do not get in your feelings. It is not about you. It is not about your house. It is not about you, your personal self. It is about the Republic of Liberia. And they're just legitimate question. That's all. That's what we are asking, and we just need a little more clarification. Aliud, good evening, good morning. The number is out there, and please, I hope to get call. Let someone give a different version of what I'm saying. Like someone here that say they're going to lose their job. I don't want people losing their job. Yeah, this is what Sanders saying. That's not me. They will lose their job if tested positive. And what next? They lose their job, and that's the end of it. Let me keep this number out here. If you're in Liberia, or whatever you are, if you have a WhatsApp number, you can call us and we can have a conversation here as well. So let's pick up some point here. According to President Joseph Newman BOAKAI in the Joint Chambers address today, education, which of course is the center of gravity, one of the points we all talk about every day: quality, 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 quality. Quality comes with substance. Quality comes with huge investment. Education remains a beacon of hope, but our education system has been downward spiraled over the years, leaving countless Liberian children without the tools they need to build a better tomorrow. It is a problem. I acknowledge that is the problem. We must confront head on. We must confront, not in a violent context, but to find solution. I guess this is what the president is saying. Education is not a privilege. It is a fundamental right. Absolutely correct. We cannot turn blind eyes to the fact that significant portions of our populations is struggling with a lot of access to quality education. And I love the hope that is being placed there. Quality. They didn't say quantity. Quality. There's a difference with quality and quantity. Quantity, that's just a number, the plenty, but the nothing. But we're talking about the quality. And there is no other way that we can genuinely seek a successfully fight poverty without the provisions of quality education for our people. Starting now, my administration is making steadfast commitment to revitalize our education system. We will invest into education infrastructure and provide adequate resources. In this, we crave your support. Good governance. There's still a missing link. There is still a missing link. We all cry like a little chihuahua around here The security is not in tight. The security is not doing their job. Now, equip it to quality education has been alluded by the president here. And I want quality education. You want quality education. But what is lacking here, the administration, the president, they are not telling us is what could be the projected budget for quality education. What it means quality education. What are the recipe for quality education? Are we bringing teachers overseas to do their work? Are we investing into teachers in what area of specification that they're going to train? So we're sending them abroad. They're going to sign contracts with government. Go and study. If you come after 1 year, 6 year, on my term as president, you'll be committed to do this, to do X, Y, Z. So how much precisely this government intend to invest into having a quality education? How much? There is something that is being laid out here that is still inconclusive. That's my view. I am not interpreting for you, but you have the right to call, and that's why the number is there. But if I hear quality education, my guess there must be a figure to attach into that quality education, both short-term and long-term goal. In every preparation, those two types are always available. You have to incite those two. The short term, this is what I hope to achieve as of now in my first 100 days of education. We'll need to see the signs and symptoms that something that resembles or that we are moving in the directions of quality education. Yes, perfectly. He did address the issue how the country from time to time has been struggling with this quality education. But what is missing is how his government intend to attain this quality education. Part of attaining this quality education is to have good budgetary allocation. Teachers, maybe if I've been informed, we're going to take a revisit of the Kakatata Rural Teacher Training Institute. It's 1 or 2 now. We're going to decentralize the country as he intend to do it, which is a great thing. I am in support of that. It's time to take the government from Monrovia to the rural or urban Liberia, returning to this stage of municipal leadership where the locals, the people will be able to elect their superintendent. I remember 1976, Manda was voting as paramount chief of the chiefdom. He was never appointed by the president. People were in line. They voted. Sons and daughters, they voted. They decided the fate of their community that has been taken away from our people, making them like a toothless bulldog. And if Ambassador BOAKAI or President BOAKAI is restoring that one, then I say kudos. Because part of that, it diminished the interference of the executive branch of government into local government. City mayors, commissioners, town chief, those people must be elected. But where we have someone sitting way in Monrovia, and guess what? About 3, 4, 5% almost superintendent's recommendation, representative, senator, this other one close to the president. They get the president confused because everybody pushing their political agenda. So if President BOAKAI, as he said, if that is being perfected into action and his administration will do that, then we are on the good path of good governance, where the administration is trying to lessen her power and returning the power to the people, more or less taking the government to the people. That's how good government works. That he's on it. And if some of these sycophants who always try to tweak the minds of the leaders to say, oh, Mr. President, they think you talk here, If you do a X, Y, Z, you're gonna come. Guess what? I wouldn't be surprised when some start pushing those sort of lines because they do not want to be held accountable. They still want to be in charge to regulate and control the lives of people. That's a good one. That's a good one. And it shouldn't just be in an executive order. Now, the second rescue model of the train is in leadership. And this is why we want to see their political influence as to whether they can push the president's agenda. You not just only being pro tem. It's not all about it, because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal of the executive branch of government is to push their agenda, do the lobbying with members from the opposition bloc, and have those sort of conversation. That position is not just a secretary and sit down there and be like a Santa Claus or dress like some sort of Halloween person. Halloween holiday is coming, and it's not yet. We more or less, I am interested in function, not the title now. No, we're looking for people who are going to function. That's what happens here. In free society, in the free world, sometimes the pro tem, they will hold when there's issue, when they know the president is pushing an agenda and he doesn't have that vote. They will hold fire with that and make sure and do their consultation to push the lines before that issue is put on the floor, because we want to make sure that it goes through. So that's the kind of pro tem. Now, there's a balance of power, which, of course, now the former ruling establishment, CDC, is now the opposition. They are in control of the lower house, where you have Councillor Fanatic Kofa. Speaker Tomafala, aka Tifa, is the deputy speaker. This is where Liberians or the politicians do not use to political deals going to be caught. And this is what we expect to have national conversation. It's not about CDC, it's not about Unity Party, it's not about Liberty Party now, but they must represent the interest of Liberia and the very constituents they vote, they represent. And that's why you saw John McCain, when he left his sick bed and used as thumbs down, he was representing his constituent, not necessarily to the Republican Party, even though they freaked out about that. But there was something that he was representing. He felt at that time it was something that was going to hurt his constituent. How many of our people, when they're for party, all of them vote for the party? Anything that says in our politics, anything comes from the party, they go the partisan way. How many, and this is where we're going to see this sort of reform message that was preached, they all must be held accountable. It is not just only the executive branch of government. It is not only the executive branch of government. There are three branches of government work simultaneously in different forms and shape, but they're put together to constitute a government. And that's how we have the executive, we have the legislature, and the judiciary. These two branches, the executive, the judiciary, more or less, they are the political wings of the governance part of the country. The judiciary is there to do the law. They cannot meddle into politics. They should be an independent people, but somehow they're also caught in the spotlight. But how many of them now are willing to take the political risk? For example, Liz Cheney lose a seat because she decided to defend and protect the constitutions of this great United States of America. Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois sings also as well, broke party lines, and they were part of that select committee and decided to prosecute the sitting presidents who tried to rewrite history to undercut the democracy of this free world. Now, how many of people with folks from the Unity Party to say yes, even though I was elected on the ticket of the Unity Party, but this president's agenda, I'm going to raise my finger. I have a different version of it, and so I'm not going to support this until I need clarity or have a consultation with my constituent. How many of our lawmakers? But we are in the tendency of dropping the balls all the way at the feet of the executive branch of government. These people, they are our direct representations. They represent who we are. So I don't care whether I voted for them or not. They are to do their job. So how many of them now going to be asking this question, even though the support, the candidates say they were on the rescue mission team, would not ask the president, are we going to just effect a arrest from Monrovia to my own village of Biai, Grand Gidet, Nima, Sano, everybody going to administer drug tests? And what happens if I become positive? What next? Where would my future, where would I be? If I got 5, 6 children and 6 wives, those are the traditional things that happened back there. We can't play blind eyes to them. Where would I be? Do we have the capacity to do that? Do we have the laboratory technicians? Or are we going to bring people from elsewhere, unknown country that we need to know, or is it not matter? How long my treatment will go for if I'm tested positive to rejoin my family? If he's missing link, just hold me. Just hold, bear with me. Just bear with me. Okay. Yes, definitely we want to do that. So this is not about hate, but if we are to strengthen our government to help to have this safer conversation, it does help the government. Look at our last budget, how much be invested. We badged and slammed the security apparatus. And I was in Monrovia. There are some good men and women in the paramilitary, the police, the immigrations, and all of these other auxiliaries. These people stand in the street from morning to day. Some can even get a water to drink, but yet then still they are committed to their work. They are in those uniforms that represent our country, but yet and still we don't even have a second thought. We badmouth them. We put all of them in a basket of deplorable that they are corrupt. You too will be corrupt when you have 4 or 5 children and you are a policeman, you earning $100, $100 US, or maybe $150, and it doesn't come on time. And you think your wife gonna stay in the home? When you're coming from work, your hand is swinging. So we create a situations where we say, go and corrupt. Go and facilitate the smuggling of drugs into our community. Yes. There are some counties, and it's not just from the president here, it's from previous government. We want to preach, we want to talk about good governance, but there are components that constitute good governance and free society where people will be committed to work. Until we can hold the executive and the legislative branch, which is the first branch of government, should hold the executive accountable, if we all can hold our lawmakers and they can stop rationing money among themselves, and you cover whole county, and some do not even have a one police patrol car, or some have one, no spare tire, and you expect them to be spontaneous to respond to crime. There are some places 2, 3 police officers, and you say you want to have a safe society? Hell no, that's not going to happen. That miracle I'm waiting to see Bill Clinton, Barack Obama cocky hair Donald Trump, all of them to be the president of the Republic of Liberia, perhaps it will happen, which of course it is not possible. So we need to take a little deep breath and take a break when we're having these conversations to be authentic and genuine. But because you also are so politically driven into the sound bites of these politicians, and you are so party fanatic, dent the interest of the country, so you deliberately wear dark shades and refuse to have this sort of conversation. A couple of months ago, I was in Liberia. I gave a police officer, a little guy from 72nd Junction to Central Monrovia. It was pouring. And when I stopped, I said, "Oh, officer, how are you doing, sir? Where are you going?" He said, "He's going to town." It was raining. These are men and women who, regardless of those chicken change wages, they are still putting themselves at risk, uniform or faded up, but still they keep that courage to serve their country. But you do not have the guts to tell your men and women to make allocation, to allocate something good to empower the law enforcement. And they will come back, will slam these people and put error. And don't get me wrong, there are some bad ones who should not even be within the force because they are contaminated by institutions. It should be a disciplined institution, but have some bad ones there. And we got in the and I deliberately opened a conversation. "Oh, officer, how is it going? Thank you for your service to the country." And he was shocked why I said that. And he began to ask questions. "Who are you, chief?" I like, "Oh no, I am not chief. I just title thing. This is unusual." And I asked him, "What do you mean?" He said, "I was going to town." And he was shocked. By the time I came in from the boulevard, beer to right, and he was stopping taxis, keke, other cars, trying to get raw. Apparently, nobody was paying attention because everybody feels the police are bad folks. They all can't, whatever you feel. Like he was shocked. And I saw him in that navy blue to uniform, faded to uniform, that I can tell you. I pull over and I stop. And conversation begins. Before we could get down Concord Town area there, I was getting the information I wanted to get. And he said, "I'm going to town." "But chief," I said, "I'm not chief." He said, "It's tough. School is about to open." And indeed, he was right because I was just going to get my daughter's school stuff in place. In fact, the process was going on. I said, "Which school your daughter going to?" He calls the school. He said, "I hope I will get the money that I'm going for. At least at Helen Johnson's salute time, we're earning like $150. I have not validated that, but that's the story that I heard. But salary were harmonized. It came to $100. No health insurance. The amount he costs, it can't even make it. Not to mention the wife home, there was nothing to cook. It was profound. And he was an elderly guy. He's not an overnight. He caused the year he joined the force. And from what I gather, he was a trained police officer who is committed who loved his job and was still keeping faith that one day would be a better day, where he would dress in the proper uniform that the ordinary pedestrians or civilian out there, and people insult these people for whatever reason. That country needs delivering. Curse police people, curse people for whatever. You can't try that nonsense here to curse policemen or say you even. There are some people who wants to confront, jump into a fight with police. I dare you to try that here. You will be memorialized. Until we all can have the love of the country and stop this bitterness, resentment, and so much drowned into political institutions. These political institutions that do not even survive, they can't even keep themselves. And we think they can help us. That's not going to work. In the next 2, 3, 4 months, everybody going to be going over now to United Party because that's where the gravy going to be at. You will see people will start crossing carpet. They will start crossing carpet. It's because we are unable to sustain institution. And part of that is we center these institutions around individuals. And I was saying that over and over and over. The CDC, the ANC, the Unity Party, Helen Johnson Sirleaf left the Unity Party in chaos. Is by the grace of God, the Unity Party survived. Until these political institutions began to open up for both short-term and long-term goal of how their institution will survive, then we'll move forward as a nation. But they don't. They don't. It's the same with the CDC now. If George Weah, former President George Weah, decides today, oh, I'm not contesting, who do they have? This is why people plan ahead. You never know. Anything can happen. TWP, where's TWP? Charles Taylor left the NPP. NPP ended up being factionalized, it turned to some sort of breakaway, this and that, and all sort of things. NDPL, Samuel Doe died. That was the demise of NDPL because there was no plan in place. There was no plan in place to sustain the NDPL. There was no plan in place. That has been and consistently been the tradition, the path of our institution, to the lack of sustainability to our institution. And everything will say we want something. But this time, I don't want to be a soothsayer here, but who knows? Ambassador BOAKAI would just want to go for one term. So when they start having that sort of contingency plan, who's going to be the next phase of President BOAKAI now? Who can tell me who is the next phase for CDC or ANC? So when people try to do that, you have folks, blind loyalists, sycophants, people saw the hypocrisy. The next thing they will label that person chief, he or she is trying to do it. This is why our institution don't survive. For those in the West here, in America and other society, like around every other year, there are conventions, you will always hear the rising star, the rising star. The essence of these conventions, party convention, is to showcase and exhibit some talent, new talent. But our people, they will be there until they even hold a stake. They don't want to grow people. They don't want to build new generation. As a result, when they fall down, then everything goes hatter scatter. But yet we say we want a good society. So how can that happen? So back to the point, in as much the president lay out some stuff here, but there are some missing flesh that should go on this bone. We're talking about quality education. I'm curious. I'm a free thinker. Like, okay, what really constitutes quality education? What is the meaning of quality education? How many teachers do we have now in the country? How many teachers training institutions do we have? So the foundation, there must be a short term and must be a long term to approach these things systematically so that they can be addressed once and for all. But we give it a sort of cosmetic dressing and put some perfume on it, but the clothes on there, they are not clean. Because we go into a carnival, a party, or some sort of pageant, and then we just buy some sort of spray, you give it a good scent so that also, oh yeah, this guy performed from XYZ place. I'm not sure whether that's solving the problem. And you have right to your own views and your opinions as well. But when we say quality education, you have to give all a little bit synopsis. It shouldn't be in a broader context that I will start wondering and pondering all around to start having headache. And then when I get headache, I have to go into a CVS or Walgreens to buy some sort of painkiller because I'm going to be suffering from artificial migraine because less information is being provided. So this is not about hate. We got to head-on approach these issues. In order for my government to have a quality, to address a quality education, this is my projected budget. And I'm going to make sure do everything that if the first branch of government, this budget goes through. Because I need about maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 teachers to be trained in XYZ area. We need to rebuild, we need to revisit the training facilities for our teachers. We want to increase the manpower of our teachers. We want to look at the schools. And you give us something like a little figure. Let us get the real hope that yes, we want quality education. Infrastructure. Infrastructure. The president did mention that as well. And let's see what he says. I'm just going to pinpoint Kawina Gestra. Infrastructure. This is what the president said. Expanding and improving the road network in our country remains a top priority. So he does recognize that, and which of course, in order for society to be a dependent society to gain its rightful right, people should be able to commute from one point to another. Somewhere you're supposed to get into in less than an hour, you travel almost a week. He's on point. While there has been some progress in roads and transport sector during the review period, there remained considerable challenges in road development. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, legislators, ladies and gentlemen, the total road paved in our nation's network amount only 1,131.1 kilometers, representing 88.7% of the 13,000 kilometer road network we need. This fact underscores considerable challenges in the road infrastructure and the urgent need to fund road development in the country. With your assistance, From friends, partners, the country made notable progress in paving some primary roads, including to the corridor, the Banga and Salaye and Ganta Sekrepi, the Ganta to Yekipa, Sanikwale to Lokatu. In addition, as of now, 37.7% of the road work on the ELW to RIA road project has been accomplished. To access all county capitals, my government will work to alleviate the problem faced by commuters using our primary roads, especially during the rainy season. This situation also causes major impediments to the economic development of our people, as the primary routes are major economic corridor to all parts of the country. The restorations of the county road maintenance stations will be a key deliverable. The problems of the roads network were diagnosed perfectly, greatly, alluding the fact how many kilometers, how much so far they are gone. But what we do not know is how you're going to be taken to the next level. What could be the projected figure? Because when you made a projection to, it gives people to say, okay, I'm going to work towards this. But when you talk about it, and you cannot push the lawmakers to remind them that, hey, I'm going to be sooner or later, when the government is in full swing, I will send a budget. But this is how much perhaps going to be the cost of my budget for road infrastructure. Then those from Grand Union from my own county, those from Sino, those from Maryland to River G and other those places, they say, oh, okay. Every day we talk about rainy seasons, so those places are not accessible. But this is what the president is saying. They will be compelled to. They will be compelled. And I'm not saying that's the end of the president's speech, but you make wise of opportunity when it comes, because the state, the address to the state, kind of give or a concise, condensed vision about the country, which of course there are some things that he laid out, but what is lacking, it is the flesh that's supposed to get on those bones. Tell us how much you intend to invest into infrastructure. If that's roads, if you think our role is the priority to create connectivities in the country, you tell us exactly this is why you intend, this is why you want your government to invest into quality road network in the country. But if I cannot, and you have the authority to do that, you are the president, exercise your authority. When America talking about border security and all of that, to tell us projected figures, you hear this billions of dollars is what government needs in order to have effective border control or whatever it is, And I think they need to do that, and hopefully they will get that done. I am confident they need to do that, because we need to know, so that tomorrow, if the president puts his agenda through, and people who will be rejecting it or people who will be giving a different thought, then we know who they are. So it is better now to start holding these people accountable as well. But if you leave it like that, that is a serious problem for me. For me, I don't know about you, but as a free thinker, that is a serious problem, and those issues needs to be addressed. The same goes to the security. If we want Moravians, people in Basel, in Bond County, we need to start thinking big and invest into big initiative and dash this onto front, because the good projections, the good visions This country, they know how much they invest into security to combat crime. So they know they will help as long as it is done in an honest fashion. They will help. But we'll talk about crime. We try to diagnose the problem, and we are not putting forward tangible solutions as to how that problem will be solved. Then that's a problem. Some of these counties, when you check, the police officers said they not even reach 150. Trust me, they don't. So only the capital that is not even well protected. I don't know how many police officers are in Zwedru. Not to mention these little towns. And all of these cities, similar problem. So what is lacking here? If we want a crime-free society, if we want the police to combat crime, maybe we need to have more than 5,000 people, police officers in the county. It will be spontaneous, they're going to be rapid to respond to crime. 2, 3, 4 jeeps, patrol jeeps. Communications, very costly. But you see ministers, lawmakers, some of them have a convoy of 3, 4, 5 cars, but the constituent that they represent do not have a patrol car. I listened to what his name, our correspondent was in that interview in Maryland, Beaufort Chambers. During Helen time, I had a privilege to interview him. He was one of the critical voices. He massively loses elections, and he does not even have the guts to admit that he loses an election. He's coming by 2029. Seriously? But I think Liberians, they are much smarter now. They can be fooled again. He was Speaker, the number 3% in the Republic of Liberia. He was talking things, logging company do this, they want to do that. You were there, what did you do to address it? Or is it a obituary announcement out? You're no longer there. You tend to know and discover the problem. When you were there, those problems, they were ignored. And you want the people to sympathize with you, and you think you're coming by 2029, you think they're going to forget? They are not. And I think that's the lesson need to be taught to politicians in the country. These summertime politicians, when election coming, then they turn to those Chinese people that want to build, they want to get things done overnight, instantly. Then it becomes humanitarian, goodwill people. They're visiting. The reason the people are begging you people, because some of you just do not know your function. You just need to puff out a bill to address the issue. They're not your job to be building clinics here and there. But you ration money. They are unable to build up parties to work across the aisle. I hope this time around, Nyomli Kanga Lawrence will sit with his name, or maybe Darius Dillon will sit with Sir Joseph, regardless what happens in the past, and push the agenda for Mosorado County, regardless about your party affiliation. But the day they can see eye to eye, the inching the getting on one another throat. So how you gonna? We see here people they sometimes the distance from their party. Sometimes draw out a puff for something. and give it to your colleague who is from different party. This is what I have. This is my vision for our county. I think you can add on. I think you can contribute. Can you take a copy of this and take a review in next week and see whether we can have a lunch somewhere and sit and talk about it and see what is what can we take off and what we can maintain? It's all about cutting deals. But everybody tie their faces like better good. One person coming on the side, the other one passing, even though they are from the same county. And then they say they represent the county. And you think the development agenda of that county will forge ahead, will go ahead? Hell no, that's not going to happen. When I'm coming down the stairs, then you act like you turned left. You bear right because you don't want to encounter me. Some of them, they are people in the same, they don't talk. Or because this other person is there, I'm not going to be part of that caucus. Nobody got to like you. No. And that concept, and I hope it will be, even in Liberia, if here, that's what I like about this country. There's a good, every side get a good and bad side. I don't have to speak to my director if I don't want to. What she requires of me, if I go, I have my own assignment, I do it. I don't have to say Mr., Madam, Miss. No, 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 no. I call you straight. That's it. But you have people that want to make it obligatory. You not see me, you passing by me. They're not staying with you. They are just there to do a piece of job. Like you are also there to do a job. It's just out of a courtesy. It's not a demand. It's not something that should be demanded. Good morning, sir. How are you, sir? I don't have to ask how you slept, what you ate. Who cares? If I'm an office boy, let me organize your office. If I'm not doing the job, I must be reprimanded. That's what matters. But we take this crown of title, we set it on our head, and forget about the functioning aspect to get something done, and we think something ought to be automatic. I was impressed with, hopefully she keep that pace, the press secretary. Immediately after that, today the president's speech, the publications, boom, she shoot it up. Someone who is a communicator, they are spontaneous. And like she pledged to take the government to the people. And that's how it should be. Not to be selective. Do not pick one institution as an institution to be your mouthpiece. We elected President BOAKAI. You work as a president. You work for President BOAKAI. You intercede between the media industry, the communications industry. So everybody must be fair with the same information at the same time. In as much Fox News is a cuckoo head on the Democrats, but institutions are all accredited. They go in the chamber, White House, press conference, and whatever. Everybody asks a question. But Liberian politicians, they are being driven by their perception. Oh, that man will not let my business. So they're not going there. Well, it is the same here. For the most part, government officials, people here, there are certain liberals here that they are on MSNBC. There are some people who can go on Fox. Okay, fair to say we can say that. But it doesn't mean it's just like that. Hopefully, everybody should be able to get an asset. Change, transformation comes with something. When you say you're coming with change, you say you're going to do change, We shouldn't come back to those where we came from. We do not intend to digress or go back to where we came from, but it's part of history. So we say that we talk that to serve as a reminder where we came from, because we intend not to go there. And it is fair to say that one institution should not have monopoly over to what is happening. It is the government should speak. The government should serve as the should release this information simultaneously to be a print or electronic media. Let not media institutions speak for you. You get your message, just throw it out there to all to have access to it. And like she pledged, the president going to be visible, going to engage the people, to the ordinary people, Liberian people. That is great. I'm waiting to see whether that will be perfected in real time. And when that happens, then it's an open society. Something I didn't hear, the president did mention that in the inaugural. His strong point has been the war crime code. The State of the Union is meant to reassure the international community, the Liberian people, of your commitment and what you pledged. That was missing. I'm wondering whether it was on purpose, it was a deliberate action based on what we saw from Senator Prince Johnson. So that's another hair scratching. Why was that omitted into this speech, yesterday's speech? Was it on purpose? And you saw Senator Prince Johnson using the poppy to mock the president, 79-year-old. Because there's a taboo word he doesn't like to hear. He's not the only person, but so for some reason he allergic. I would say that well, he's allergic to it. And we saw that being happening over and over repeatedly with he and Senator Darrell Dillon. Anytime he feels that sort of within him that when war crime code is mentioned, then he's being he is the one he thinks people talking about. But I agree with him though. Yesterday's speech was a speech that I anticipated. I thought that the president would make mention of it. Now when you're in a celebratory mood, like Prince Johnson said. But that wasn't mentioned. That wasn't mentioned in his speech. So why? So how this relationship gonna be like? Is it meant to appease Prince Johnson to smoke a political peace pipe? Probably. I'm guessing, I'm speculating. Why was that left out? If I'm privileged to talk to the presidential press secretary, Takula, she said that the closure of people of happenings from the war situations is in different forms and contexts depending on who you talk to. Other people just need to know what becomes of their family members. Some people were killed. They don't know whether they are certain people they are holding responsible. They need to get into in order to give them decent burial. So she was right on that part. But would that happen? So the president used a taboo word that Prince Johnson is not an admirer of. He doesn't like that name to be called war crime code. But he was very political and calculative. He didn't say it, but the context, the connections he created, we know, you know directly. He was speaking indirectly. He was speaking in an exhortatory tone, in a special language that we tend to decode to the president. So the question now becomes, what was the conversation? How he came to support the Unity Party? Is he surprised? Then candidate Ambassador BOAKAI at the time talks about that. He mentioned it. So why is he surprised? And to come out to create a fear tactic that he get 1,000 people. Who cares? No one nowhere. We saw Mama Helen when Taylor was turned over. All we saw reaction was Jiba. They were crying because the news, the war was crushing on them. No 1,000 people nowhere. You're not going to use the people as a fierce tactic. If you didn't do anything, he tried to build a consolidated political or some sort of coalition. That was the first time telling us Joshua Bly. You're not happy? Joshua Bly is a pastor now, seeking consolidation, trying to consolidate other people, telling them indirectly, if they're not coming, you better join me. Let's get into this fight. Let's make some noise around here so that they would know we're still around. Indirectly, that's the language there he was speaking to Joshua Bly and many others. And he thinks he's going to create a sort of fear tactic. When you and Joshua Bly start being, if God arrests you, have you been arrested by the Holy Spirit as well? So that he the only person the Holy Spirit arrests, right? You're right. That's not it. People should be held accountable. People are refusing deliberately and they are defiant of their action without remorse. But this time, he was collecting sample, the crown, the basso, the days people, everything was also done. He was not taking the traditional defense as he claimed to be. He was protecting his people. I was surprised he didn't say that. So what he was doing cleverly, he was blowing a smart whistle. Joshua Bly, are you listening to me? Power, are you listening to me? Yaya Nimle, are you listening to me? Then I alone. Liberians are compassionate people, are forgiving people. If you can just be honest and say, you know what? I am sorry for what I did. You don't even need to give justification. I am sorry. And man, Pedro said, man, can't talk all. And then people will see the authenticity, the realness of yourself as a person, as a human being. But if you want to be political, though you occupy a political office, then there's a problem. Then people will talk. And we will continue to talk. And this is where the challenge will be coming from with the Unity Party government. Because my guess, and for sources, people that I talked to, there was a lengthy discussion with Uncle Sam, who saw what happened with Jonathan Goodluck at the end of the day. Uncle Sam starts to push. With all of these good visions, things that have been outlined, you must meet the demand of Uncle Sam. And America is such a country they didn't easily let go. I don't care how long it takes. And the issues of those nuns that they believe, whether they have the evidence, whatever it is, that they believe allegedly these people were killed or murdered by Prince Johnson, Senator Prince Johnson. They will need some answers. And that's why the push, when he was chair of the defense, he said, hey, no, he got to go. However, we are hearing now, he's the co-chair. I did speak with a senator And they are confirming that, but we want to make sure whether that's the information's co-chair. So is that a snap in the face of Uncle Sam if it is true and only true? I don't think he should panic over this here, because at some point, I think they're going to reach their Waterloo. People need to answer a question. They need to provide answer, and that's how it should be like. So we will continue to take revisions of this speech of the president in good faith for the good of the country, so that maybe those bones that are left out, they can put those bones on it, and it can be better for all of us. I want to have a better rose. You also definitely want to have a better rose, but it must be explained in the context. We can't just diagnose the problem. Are people going to take drug tests? Are you going to invade people's privacy? What will happen if I say I don't want to administer drug tests? There was no contract signed when you were hiring me to do a drug test. You can't just throw something up like that. There must be an approach to these issues, little by little, little by little. Do not listen to what is happening out there because people want quick fix. So you want to do a quick fix to appease people. It doesn't work that way. The society we have today is a very hostile society. I thought probably the president was saying, well, in order to address this issue, I'm constituting this committee. And the committee is going to do an extensive study with professionals from different background, and send out the findings, and then you can act on it. But you tell us 10,000 people going to be what? Trained? So who are those 10,000 people? Where are they coming from? What percent of the 10,000 you are referring to now, if we look at all of these people with various sort of situations, where is the statistical figures that we have now? We have more than 16,000 plus eligible people from last census. If you take 10,000, where are these 10,000? Is that an entire country? And if I'm tested, that I can smoke kush, opium, whatever stuff, what becomes of me? Would I be put in the treatment center? If I'm working, would I be laid off? What becomes of my family? So who want to start this sort of administering? Where is the capacity? Are they coming from Liberia? Do we have facility to contain these people, the 10,000 people? I'm not a guy who can seize people labor days. If you hire me and there was a contract signed to get that job, then it's okay. Suppose I do the test, and if I'm drug free, will you give me the job that I want, or you just do my test, take my blood, and that's all about it? To be like a vampire. So people should be calculated. People should have a second thought when they throw in this thing. That's not a. I thought maybe we're going to talk about the revitalizations of the Catherine Rebuilt Rehabilitation Center, where we say, okay, we have some psychologists, clinicians, counselors. Government needs to invest into these people for this year, so that we can have people that can address this issue professionally. Maybe that better yet, I told you the government needs to invest and have it as institutions where these people can be, some sort of treatment plan can be instituted, and not just only that, because after that, you put in vocational institutions. This is what happens after a war. Maybe MVTC, that we increase the capacity of MVTC, build more if they are not in all of these counties, divide the country into zones, have strong technical vocational institution. You make these people more powerful. They becomes more independent in terms of they don't have to rely on government for employer. They gained good skills and they can earn money. They stay home and people call them, hey, I want to do some carpentry work. I need to get zinc over my house, and that person can work. But you're going to start administering drug tests. I'm waiting to see how I'm waiting to see how you're going to work. It must start with the minister there first, and not just only it. Not don't take it and tell me say you pass it. No, it must be made public because you are an asset to us. And tell us those who will be tested positive and they are working for government, what becomes of them? Because if they are alcoholic, if they are whatever involved in drugs, then they are dangerous to society. They must be contained somewhere. They must be put into institution. There must be a treatment plan. We must have psychologists. We must have clinicians, and we must have something in place for them. It is a costly in the West, billions of dollars being spent to shelter and to provide treatment for those people. 16,000 people. Think about increasing the wages of the men and women in police, immigration, the midwives, the nurses, the teachers. Let them start earning something good. Then to revitalize the institution. Because those people, you do that, you have to integrate them into society. And part of that integration is to make them to be skillful. How many laboratory technicians we have throughout the country? So people are going to be coming from Moria to be going to where? Sano to do people drug tests? Who's going to bring them to town? You all will go there to them or what? Sapalapet. Take a realistic approach. Real, something that sounds real. What becomes of them if they are tested positive? That's what I want to know. Or you just know about them and then they go on your own. Or you just give them 1, 2 pill 1 or 2 times, you say you on your own. And what happens to those that are currently on job? If they're tested positive, will they still be working? Or they'll go to institution? What sort of breach? What 4-lane breach or whatever they're going to be? How much they're going to cost? Yes, I want developments, I want good infrastructure, but tell me how much they're going to cost. What becomes a quarantine? Because you got to do places, and you got to do a lot of clearing. You got to pay people off to get them to those places. How much are you going to invest into that? So we need to take achievable goals. I don't want to have a George Weah scenario. 6,000 teachers coming, and half did not show up. We build that impressions. As a result, it turns to anxiety to people now. You want to do that? Stick to your point. Stick to what you promise. Tell us what you intend to achieve in the short term and in the long term in 6 year time. Frame and say, and pay and pay and pay, little by little. And part of that, your working relationship with the first branch of government. We're not going to be taking these sort of cosmetic words. I want the country, the president, to succeed. Technology, broadband in this 21st century is a challenge in Liberia. Whole day, people asking for data. But children can't even do their assignment. Those are the things. Create an open market, free market society, competition. Like other companies, create the avenue, let it come invest. Let no child be left behind. The teacher then say can't even afford by the internet. Sometimes when we do our own count, how much people spend, how much I have to spend to put on my daughter for her to buy just internet to do assignment. What is government doing to address this issue, both in the private and public school, that children will have access to broadband, that they will be able to, without that parent who do the last selling water, and they will have to take $5, $10 nearly every other day for that child to get her assignment done. We need to find solution, find a way out. These institutions improve some sort of a planned government, work with these communications, internet institutions. The school must have this laboratory where there will be a free internet services, and sometimes the students will sit there and be able to have some after school activity that will alleviate the problems the parents are facing, and they will start crying. They must sound little, but that would be a workable plan. But you know, again, Liberia is some kind of country. You got to toss something in there. If somebody hair follow on your shoulder until it weighs 250 pounds, that it needs surgery in order for them to know that, yes, they are heavy. And when you talk these things, and then people get upset and they defend people. I want to know the short-term and long-term goals, 6 years. You never know what are going to be a distractions, obstruction from the opposition. It's everywhere. Even in the great United States, you will always see some sort of obstruction. You know what a cry, baby cry to say that if people stab me, no. I don't want to hear anything that happens with the George Weah and the CDC now. You are there. You knew these preconditions were there. You and your folks need to handle it. And this is why you need to build that coalitions to cut deals. The game of campaign is over now. No calling names. Extend an olive branch to these people. We need to do it for the good of the country. Until the folks that are up there start this sort of conversation, and we who down the hill, we deploy that good reasoning as well, and start being so party driven. You never born with Unity Party, you never born with CDC. You can't, you just join the people thing. You don't pay due, you don't do anything, but you call yourself die hard. But you can't even stay in that party in bad times. If you check all of them, they are left the party 4 or 5 different party. They go to any party, they cause trouble, they leave from there. They come to the other party, they jump there. They leave from the other party, they jump there. They do not have no political ideology that they believe in for which they are behind party. It's like a social club. So the institution, and that's why our institutions are not sustainable. and we wonder what happens to government. Yeah, those same behavior, they transfer them into government. Nobody willing to take a risk. Nobody willing. The president now, everybody that papi now. Papi, I hear to see the papi. Of course, everybody needs job to survive, and that's why people who talking are just talking. Most of the people who are talking to radio show are doing it for my. Nobody doing nothing for me. I can talk for myself. So liars, deceitful people are advocating. You can't advocate for me. I can talk for myself. I'm doing it for the Liberian people. When you start doing it for the Liberian people, what is the price that you pay? No pain, no gain. The road to freedom is costly. And that's what Gaddafi said. There is no successful revolution without a bloodshed. Liberian politicians, they don't want to go to jail. They go to jail 1, 2 times, they come back and they start crying, their voice going all over the roof. Nelson Mandela still aimed at solitary confinement for 29 years. 29. With hard labor. You think to challenge government a small thing? I want to see the Nelson Mandela type. They will stay in office until they die. When they die, said that casket will still be maybe in the mansion. They will still want to be president. But with all of that, when he came out, he's just only served for 1 term. And people who persecuted him, people who despised him, some of those people were incorporated into government. How many of our politicians are compassionate, forgiving? Now election is over. Who is willing to call who now to have a breakfast, to have a lunch, to say, hey, enough is enough. We need to come together to get this thing done. They can. They can. Fake people are going to be passing all around again. One day they for, another day they against. When you're part of an institution, if you're part of a party, if that party is not doing what it's supposed to do, don't leave from there. You need to stay there and fix the problem. You have to contaminate the system. You move from there, you bring it, sooner or later that virus come to you, you put it in the other party, and that's how all of the parties are contaminated. When they are dead, they are defiant, they will protect, they will not speak out. As soon as they leave from there, then they know all of the happenings in the party. They one can listen, they one can do this, they one can do that. Yet with one good governance. What are things that constitute good governance? So sometimes I wonder, are we the problem or is it the government? Who is the problem in that country? I'm wondering. It's not a country. The country is just a place that we reside, but the inhabitants, we are the problem for ourselves. We celebrate, we support things for whatever reason, God one knows. And we think magic going to be performed. Call us stupid. And that's what a Western journalist said during the heat of the civil crisis. Liberia is a country was heading in the direction folks on the sea, a vessel with an unknown technician. How can you be in a vessel and you don't have a technician? How can you be on a plane and no pilot on that plane? So how that plane going to be going? Who's going to control to communicate with the tower? Somebody gotta be there. They are not physically to doing it. They are technology, but they are there to communicate and do whatever they're supposed to do. But somebody should be there to regulate. The country, how many political parties? Some of the party, no offices, they own will. Only the grape is their party. Every dick and Tom want to be president, want to be this, want to be that. No agenda, no vision. We don't know what it stands for. And they have managed successfully to pollute the minds of the young generations. And get a country to be what it is. It's 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. We will at all times have honest conversation for the good of the country. Without being disrespectful, but we'll point out those issues as a field necessary to help the government. The media is not a resistant group, but we discuss these issues in the honest factions and give them the opportunity to get their versions of the story as well, as long as they are willing to have those conversations. When we're talking about quality education, so I want to know the component that constitutes quality education. How are you going to arrive attaining quality education? And part of that, I need to know how much you intend to spend to put in the budget to get quality education. I want to know how many teachers the government of the Republic of Liberia is willing to invest to have quality education. I want to know how many infrastructure, teacher trainings, opportunities are going to be given. If you lay out these things, then I know the visions, it becomes more clear. If you talk about rural, I want to know how much you're going to invest into good roads. It's not just about talking about talking and achieving and the questions how, if it is not addressed, then that's a little problem for me. The 10,000 people, where are they coming from? Are they coming from Monrovia? Which county? How is this figure being selected? What is the statistical survey that was conducted that picked those 10,000 people? How? What becomes the rest of the other people? If you can tell me in the short term, the long term, what to achieve, this and that, then of course, then we can have an open, then we can have a room of conversations and make that sort of accommodation. But if you're talking about the whole republic, 10,000 to be selected, I want to know how. If drug tests are going to start being the minister, oh my goodness. Who are those going to administer that test? From like people from Liberia, or are they coming from out of Liberia? What sort of test is that? And what next after the test has been administered? If I do not have a job and go do a drug test, would I get an employment? Or the little blood or whatever that in me, what I'm going to be doing the urine test, this is how much you intend to invest. What happened if 20 or 100 people tested positive from a ministry, one ministry, another 100 from ministry? What becomes of the people? We will replace them with those that are negative. And even we replace them, where there'll be a treatment plan for those people, because they have to be integrated in society. You're not just going to dash them away. So we've got to be very careful here. Some of us go beyond the corridor to critically think about it, because we want to find a solution, not just talk about it and let it go. And trust me, you're going to see a different forms of interpretations about, the president's speech, which is okay. But this network, we don't just tell you what you necessarily want to hear. Sometimes you hear some uncomfortable one, but we tell you what you need to know, because that is good and healthy for our country. 3:04 Eastern Standard Time, right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. I want to thank you so much for sharing your morning, afternoon, evening, depending on your location. In time to come, subsequently, maybe we'll be having some programs this sort of morning hour, and to accommodate the views, opinions, as usual. We intend not to leave no one behind, but to honestly have this national conversation. We want to say our thanks and appreciation to the people of Liberia, the president, for keeping the country going. And we pray that he gains the wisdom and should not allow these politicians to certify brainwashing, because that's who they are. They will never be honest to people that they serve. Everything is yes, sir, yes, sir. And then when the table flips and they say, oh, he can't listen. We were talking to him, he can't listen. But they will all be saying yes, sir, because they do not want to lose their job. But sometimes it's good to be honest. Every good leader wants honest people. It has to be done in a respectful context. I'm not saying if the president gets having dinner, then you put your finger, you start talking. Mr. President, I advise you not to come here. No, that's not how it works. You do it at a quiet time. You listen to him. The reason the president brings people around him, people he alone cannot do it. You will need people you need to have honest people to surround you, to support your initiative, and speak truth to power. Do not pretend. And that was the problem in the last administration. People were deliberately in broad daylight in denial, even though it was not a right thing, but they were still telling the president, don't worry. And when Liberia man tells you don't worry, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and then everything is about to go over the roof. When they tell you don't worry, you should worry. Because they don't want to, they don't want to be honest with you. So hopefully, these people the president going to be appointing, they will be honest and they will do it the right way. And I was disappointed in other aspects of the president's speech. He talks about reinforcing the code of conduct. That enforcement starts with him as the chief executive. You have been inducted. Maybe today will be a turning point. I am now the president of the Republic of Liberia. In the next coming days or week, I will declare my asset, and any of my ministers appointed, if confirmed, if you do not declare your asset, you will not be in my government. That's the commitment you made on international cable wire. That was omitted. So when will that happen? Will it happen? And if it will still happen, when? You and the vice president, you no more elect. You are working now. Whether you go to the mansion or not, you are working now. You are the president and vice president simultaneously. So after the State of Union address, or maybe today, I thought the president will come out publicly. Or is that the end of the gingerbread ball? So if you don't do it, they don't want designate, they will not do it. So it is you that need to take the bull by the horn and then they will follow suit. The former president start building randomly. And this is how other people follow suit. No accountability. This thing should not just be something that should be talk about and it is not put into action. Please. Yes, people will say it's still soon, it's still soon. Yes, I like to take it on heads on when it starts. That is saying it's too soon. We were telling the former president, and here we are today. We will not give them a chance. If they need to be reminded of their responsibility to would do it with politeness, with respect, but we'll tell them. We will tell them. We will have the conversation. We will play our part. Our job is to tell them we are not law enforcers. It's level 8. Let us tell the narrative, and they must do what they can do. Thank you so much, folks. Have a pleasant morning. God's willing, we'll be back here for most news information. No entertainment. We have plenty of musicians in the country. That entertainment on my hand inside. Have a pleasant morning. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.